Assalamu alaikum students. Welcome to the course of knowledge management. Today we are going to start module 2, but let's recap what we have covered in module 1. In module 1 we have discussed sources of knowledge, types of knowledge, difference between data, information, knowledge and wisdom, benefits of gain and different theories regarding knowledge management. Now let's move on what we are going to cover in module 2. We are going to discuss types of knowledge again, what is the method of knowledge conversion from tacit to explicit, how concept of BA is useful in knowledge generation, BA is a new term, theories behind knowledge sharing, perspectives of information, people management practices. We're going to discuss all these topics one by one. Module 2 consists of these 5 articles. I strongly advise you to read all of these articles. Now let's discuss the topics. Types of knowledge. There are 2 types of knowledge, explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge. We have already discussed these 2 types in module 1, but let's briefly discuss them over here as well. Explicit knowledge is that knowledge which is available in books, rules and regulations, in SOPs. We often found it in tables, graphs, different diagrams. On the other hand, tacit knowledge is embedded in experience. It is hidden, it's difficult to document, it's difficult to transform it in the form of SOPs. Now, tacit knowledge has 2 dimensions, technical and cognitive. Technical dimension first. It encompasses the kind of informal personal skills or crafts, often referred to as know-how. On the other hand, cognitive dimension. It consists of beliefs, ideal values, schematas, and mental models which are deeply rooted in us. It's difficult to articulate. However, this cognitive dimension of tacit knowledge shapes the way we perceive the world. For instance, knowing the nitty-gritty of a machine is known as technical dimension. You know each and every bit of it. On the other hand, if you share knowledge through collaboration, commitment, and supportive norms, then it means that you believe in the culture of sharing through support. Now let's understand this dimension from the perspective of theory X managers and theory Y managers. We all know that theory X managers believe that employees are lazy and they do not want to work and they need force to do some work. On the other hand, theory Y managers believe that employees are internally motivated, they want to work. So both of these theories are the internal maps of the manager. So these maps derive or lead us how we are going to share knowledge. The next topic is BA. BA is a Japanese word which means place. It discusses that knowledge is generated on different places. Each place has its own value and it contributes to the individual and organization as well. And how tacit knowledge is transformed into explicit knowledge, and then explicit knowledge is transformed back into the tacit knowledge. That's answer the question how tacit knowledge is transformed into explicit knowledge and reverse back to tacit knowledge as well. On the basis of BA, Nonaka presents SIKI model. SIKI stands for socialization, externalization, combination, and internalization. The first place is socialization. It is the place where individual meets with other individual, where tacit knowledge is transformed into tacit knowledge, and it is called originating BA. Feelings, different emotions, experiences, empathies are shared with each other. Long time experiences are shared with each other, and then joint activities are performed together, spending time with each other, and living in the same environment help us in socialization. The next place is externalization. It is the place where tacit knowledge is transformed into explicit knowledge, where individuals meet in a group and they share the experiences of tacit knowledge, and then they transform this knowledge into explicit knowledge, and where they interact with each other in a group, and it is called interacting BA. How it is achieved? It is achieved through putting right mix of knowledgeable people, teams, cross-functional teams, and leaders in a group. They meet with each other, they interact with each other, and they share their tacit knowledge, and they transform it into explicit knowledge. And it is done through expressing ideas or images as words, concepts, or figurative language into visual and dialogues, tables, and translating the tacit knowledge of customers or experts into readily understandable formats. The next place is combination. It is the place where explicit knowledge is again transformed into explicit knowledge, where groups meet with other groups and share their experiences with each other. They share their SOPs, they share their new insights which they have transformed through tacit knowledge to explicit knowledge in externalization phase, and they share their new thoughts, new ideas with each other in the form of explicit knowledge. It is called cyber BA. and it is used through the help of groupware, through documentaries, through databases. The last place is internalization. It is the place where explicit knowledge is transferred back to tacit knowledge. Explicit knowledge is transferred through training, on-job training, learning by doing, and then individual take that explicit knowledge, transfer it to tacit knowledge through strategies, to tactics, to experiences, to innovation, through improvement, through experiments. Now the individual has generated a new tacit knowledge, group has generated new tacit knowledge, organization has generated new tacit knowledge. And the individual goes back to socialization again to produce more tacit knowledge with other individuals, and this process goes in a loop again. Now let's move on to our next topic. There are certain theories behind knowledge sharing. There are multiple theories, but we are going to discuss them one by one. The first theory is theory of reasoned action. It tells us the intention to engage in a specific behavior is determined by attitudes towards that behavior, as well as by perceptions of social norms. Attitudes are determined by beliefs regarding the outcomes of the behavior and evaluation of those outcomes. Subjective norm refers to those beliefs as the existence of social expectations regarding behavior. For instance, you will engage in knowledge sharing if you believe that you will be appreciated and not criticized. You will also ready to share where identifying mistakes are taken as progressive, not feared by punishment. So different beliefs and norms of an organization lead towards knowledge sharing. Then there is social capital theory. It refers to close interpersonal relationships that exist among individuals. So we share knowledge through our interpersonal relationship. The stronger the bond, the greater the knowledge sharing is. But social capital can be better understood through its dimensions. There are three dimensions. First is structural, second is cognitive, third is rational. Let's discuss the structural dimension first. Through organized structure, we interact with each other. So different structured roles, centralization, span of control affects the amount of knowledge sharing. A second dimension is cognitive dimension. It is gained through a shared language and shared narratives among network members. So like engineers have same lingo which doctors don't understand. The last is relational dimension. It is the effective part of social capital. It describes network relationships in terms of interpersonal trust, existence of shared norms, and identification with other individuals in the network. Individuals trust with each other. The more they trust, the more the knowledge sharing is. Social dilemma theory also contributes in knowledge sharing. Social dilemma describes situations in which the rational behavior of individual defines in pure simple economic terms. Let's discuss social dilemma first. Social dilemma is a situation in which an individual profits from selfishness unless everyone chooses the selfish alternative, in which the whole group loses, which means that individual holds knowledge. This is the concept of knowledge hoarding, in which someone knows something, but it is either unwilling to share and they know or at least disclose the source of their knowledge. In other words, knowledge hoarding is the absence of the word how. So there are multiple ways one can decrease the probability of knowledge hoarding. Restructuring. Restructuring through jobs. We create interdependency of tasks. In this way, an individual has to share knowledge. Second is perceived payoff function. We provide incentives. We provide extrinsic motivators. Third is increasing efficiency perceptions and increasing feelings of identification within the group through intrinsic motivation, through appreciation ladders. Then there is social exchange theory. It argues that the individual regulate their interactions with each other based on self-interested analysis of cost and benefits. For instance, I will share knowledge if the boss or department sanctions my leave. Another example is if my cost of acquiring and sharing the knowledge is more or less than the benefit. If the cost is high, then most probably I will not share the information. If the cost of sharing the knowledge is less and benefit is high, most probably I will share knowledge. Now let's move on to our next topic. We have already discussed what information is, and information is the process form of data, but there are two perspectives of information. For the first is syntactic and the other is semantic. Syntactic perspective is about the quality of information. On the other hand, semantic perspective is about the meaning of information, the quality of information. For example, a telephone bill is not calculated on the basis of the content of a conversation, but according to the duration of time and the distance involved. The amount of bill is syntactic information and the conversation take place during the call is cybernetic information. Now question arises, which perspective is important with respect to creating knowledge? For this you have to read the articles. The answer lies inside the article. Now let's move on to the next topic. The next topic is commitment on the part of the knowledge subject. It has three parts. It has intention, autonomy, and fluctuation. Let's discuss one by one. The knowledge sharing depends upon what is the intention behind it. The intention is concerned with how individuals form their approach to the world and try to make sense of the environment. For example, some people share knowledge for benefits, monetary benefits, for promotions, for collaborations, for commitments, for competition, and many other reasons. So every reason has different outcomes and different impact on the organization. So the impact depends upon the intention of the knowledge sharer. Every individual has his own personality. By allowing people to act autonomously, the organization may increase the possibility of introducing unexpected opportunities. So autonomy gives you more control on job and knowledge sharing. The third is fluctuation. Individual recreates their own system of knowledge to take care of ambiguity, redundancy, noise, or randomness generated from the organization and its environment. So the actual condition of organization also contributes to knowledge sharing. So these three things, intention, autonomy, fluctuation, creates commitment on the part of knowledge sharer. Now the question is, how can we manage knowledge sharing in different aspects of organization? These are the different aspects of organization: work design, staffing, training and development, performance appraisals, compensation and rewards, culture and technology. Let's see how can we manage knowledge sharing in these things. For instance, in work design, we can design teams in such a way that they are cross-functionals, they share the knowledge with each other, we create interdependency among teams. In staffing, we make sure we hire those persons who actually want to share knowledge, who are open to sharing. So we choose person, organization fit scenario in this. When employer referrals are made, we make sure those persons should be selected who wants to share knowledge. We make sure we select those persons in staffing whose communication skills are open and they are well versed in their communication. In training and development, we make sure that extensive training should be given to employees to share knowledge. Team-based training can be given, formalized orientation can be given, socialization programs can be initiated, and while doing performance appraisals, we develop appraisals in such a way that we value those persons who share knowledge. And then we create a culture of caring, interest, and cooperation, high bandwidth communication, fairness, perceived support, and then technology can facilitate us. User-friendly information technology, training to use technology, technology choose to fit culture, technology to enhance existing social norm. We have to give training to use technology, and we have to choose technology according to our culture to enhance our social networks. Now this is the end of the module 2. I hope you will go through these articles, as this video is only the shorter version of these articles. Thank you so much.